It's no secret that HSR is in a bit of a lull right now. We do have some exciting things coming up, like Cyredes coming out pretty soon. We just got a free character, which is great, but if you look at like the overall community hype, it's pretty low compared to what it normally is. And part of that's just the time of year it is. Like, people are getting back to school. There's some new games coming out. People are taking breaks, things like that. You know, that's pretty normal. But there is also something to be said about the current state of HSR. Now, in this video, I'm going to give you my brief opinion on what's going on in HSR, but I also specifically want to talk about one of the newest contents that they added, which is called Anomaly Arbitration. Halt! It is time to read an ad. This video is sponsored by Stella Sora. Stella Sora drops you into a sci-fi fantasy war where ancient powers clash and the fate of entire worlds is at stake. The story gets right into action. You're thrown into a conflict full of mystery, betrayal, and characters that actually matter. It's got a mix of high-concept lore and personal stakes that keep you hooked between battles. But for you non-story enjoyers, Stella Sora's gameplay is where it shines. This is a super fun RPG that actually rewards smart positioning and team building. Each unit has its own role, and finding the right synergies between characters is super satisfying. It's simply quick, impactful decision-making that keeps every fight engaging. Whether you're lining up a perfect AoE combo or pulling off a swift counterattack, Stella Sora makes every move feel meaningful. And if you add in the stylish visuals, polished menus, and a growing roster of unique characters, you've got a game that delivers real depth without getting bogged down. So if you're looking for a new anime game that actually plays great, download it for free by using the link down in the description of this video or by checking out the pinned comment. And once again, thanks Stella Sora for sponsoring this video. So first off, just to get it out of the way, I'm actually not caught up with the story of HSR at the moment. Some games came out, I wanted to play them, took a little bit of a break. I've been having a really good time, and recently I've been playing the Oblivion remaster, which has been really good. But I will catch up on the story. For now, what I'll say is that the story of Amphorius, I think if you are okay with lengthy stories, is actually pretty good. It's just a matter of like, are you able to sit through a lot of dialogue? If yes, you'll enjoy it. If not, you're probably gonna hate it because it's just a lot of talking. But overall, like, it feels like the payoffs are stacking up. Things are getting a little bit better, and it's a lot more interesting than it used to be. So I would say it's enjoyable for me at if nothing else. But realistically, guys, you know this, and everyone else knows this as well. The story of the game does not hold the entire patch together. You play the story, some people get it done in one day, some people take 2 or 3 days, some people take a week, but the patches are 6 weeks long. So there's a lot of people that are just not really doing anything after the story occurs. They log in, they pull the character, they build a character, they go slam their head against endgame, and then they're done, right? And for a lot of people, they're just kind of done with the game after a few minutes. And HSR is a good game for that because they have the auto battle feature. So it's a pretty good like mobile game, pick up, put down game. And I honestly think that's one of my favorite things about it from when I started playing it, was because I was like, this is a high quality turn-based game that I can play on my phone when I'm out and about doing things. Wow, very cool. But at the end of the day, those are not the things that are going to keep your attention occupied and keep you having fun. So kind of talking about what I mentioned earlier with Anomaly Arbitration, that's sort of the new thing I think that has people interested in the game again for the people that are playing. And from what I've heard, a lot of people actually do have a problem with Anomaly Arbitration as a game mode. And having played it just now on my main account, I kind of have an idea of why. So a while ago, I was talking to you guys about my thoughts of Anomaly Arbitration, the new game mode, and my initial impressions were actually fairly negative. The reason that they were negative is because it's a whale-based game mode that has more rewards tied to it, and it doesn't feel much different from anything like MOC or any of the other game modes that we already have. For the most part, it just feels like MOC++, like MOC Pro Max. And I've always talked about how having more MOC floors would be nice, but I think what I'm really struggling with when I get on HSR to play and like do endgame stuff is like, I feel like I've been doing the same game modes forever. And the same game modes, it always kind of plays out the same. You bring the new character to the new cycle of whatever game mode it is, and then you just instantly wipe the entire thing. So when Anomaly Arbitration was first announced, I honestly wasn't too excited about it. But having that challenge on my main account was actually really fun. Oh, brother. Now stay with me for a second, because I know for a lot of people, this game mode sucks. People hate it, right? But just hold on a second. Let me explain where I'm coming from. Anomaly Arbitration, to my understanding, is meant to be the Stygian Onslaught equivalent for Honkai Star Rail. It's meant to be a game mode to push your limits. If you're free to play, you're probably not going to get it. But if you are in like the top % of free to play players, you'll probably get it. Low spenders will definitely get at least the 3 nights and like 1 star on the last boss. And if you're a Giga Whale, you might be able to clear the last boss with 3 stars. Or if you just happen to pull all the perfect units and have the perfect relics, you might be able to just do it. But the way it's set up right right now is very cool. I actually like this a lot, and let me explain why. So this was my first run through, and during my first run through, I learned a lot about this. In the CE server, I could just go like right to the boss and use the new characters, and it just ended up being fine, right? But in this, I actually wanted to go through all of the knights effectively and see what I could do with my characters. I didn't mean to enter that. And I really like what they did, because rather than just needing to pull Castress Everknight, you actually want to have a super break team. You want to have a dot team, which I didn't want to build. So I brute forced it and got 2 stars, and I'll come back for that later mayhaps, but I don't want to build high ceilings. So this didn't work out. But then on top of that, and here's where you can bring in the new units, Castress, Everknight, Finite, all work really well on night 3. And doing it in this way and having 3 different archetypes of teams is so cool, because now I can play older units, old units, and new units, and all of them feel powerful, and I feel like I'm getting good results with all of them. It doesn't feel like the old units that I built that got power crept are just useless anymore, because now they can be put in this game mode. And that was really fun to bring back Break Effect and to bring back my Acheron for a little bit. Like, I had a good time. I do think that it can be a little bit problematic though when it is only clearable by a specific archetype. And I think that's where a lot of people are getting very frustrated. Not with the HP pools of the bosses, but how hyper specific they are. Because for instance, if you didn't have a super break team, which I'll be real, I think most people, if you didn't start in 3.0, probably have a super break team. But if you don't have a super break team, this is marginally harder. If you don't have a dot team, good luck getting 3 stars. It might happen. If you have copies of characters, if you have their light cones, it might happen. But this fight without dot characters is insane. And this fight here, I mean, this didn't feel too bad, but I tried it with Finite and I tried it with Castress, which is like, this is the right team for it. So I'm not even sure what the difference is going to be with this guy. But either way, night 1 and 2, if you don't have the right archetypes, this is kind of miserable. So ultimately what this means to me is that Anomaly's arbitration is strictly like long-term player game mode. Someone who has pulled multiple different characters, built multiple different teams, and pushed them to the limits. You need to be horizontally invested across 3 different teams, at least, of different types, not just 3 teams of any characters you want. We're talking a break team, a dot team, and just a regular DPS team, or like a dual DPS team, right? And so in a way, it kind of locks people out of being able to do this content just because they didn't pull for older units who got power crept. And I would say that in that way, it's sort of a double-edged sword, because on one hand, you have incredibly fun new challenges for people who have been playing for a long time, but on the other hand, you have content that's completely inaccessible to anyone who hasn't been around long term. But I think that it's a net positive, because if you just haven't been around long term, that means that if you keep playing the game and you enjoy playing the game, eventually this challenge will be doable for you. And if you have been around for a long time, then it tests your limits. So overall, I'm actually a big fan of this seeming like MOC expansion thing they've done with Anomaly Arbitration. I think it's pretty cool, and I actually enjoyed it. Now, there is one thing though that I do think we need to talk about, and that is going to be the final challenge here. Now, I only did 1 attempt across the board for all of this, so I didn't even really get into it and try out a bunch of different stuff. This was just what I ended up doing because I was like, oh, he's Ice weak, is Quantum weak, and I have Jinglu and Cypher hyper invested, so why not, right? Like, I just went into it and it was really fun. I got to use my wife here, and it was a good time. But there is one issue with it that I have, and it's that the amount of HP this boss has is basically undefeatable with 3 stars unless you have the newest units and their light cone, which is indicative of the same balance problem that we've had for a long time. I'm not saying this boss needs to be easier. I'm saying we need to not be power creeping the new units so much that every time a new character comes out and there's a new boss to fight, that all of the older characters are just kind of unusable in that content. Now, this is a good example of that not being the case, right? Because, oh, I use Jinglu and Cypher, but you guys gotta keep in mind, right? I have E6 Jinglu, E6 Cypher. These were 2 of the 3 characters that I E6'd in my time playing this game. And I played them because, you know, I liked the characters and I felt like it was kind of fitting to the fight, but not everybody has these, right? And this got me 2 stars. I think it could do 3 stars. I think if I replayed it a few times and then chose targets carefully and things like that, or maybe had better RNG with the hits and things like that, you could probably get 3 stars. But most teams that are E0 S1 are not clearing this with 3 stars unless it's Everknight Castress team with Everknight signature light cone, Hyacinth's light cone, Caster as her light cone. Like most teams are just not doing it. You know, ultimately, I think it just bothers me that, you know, if I went with other characters that did meet the type matchup that were of a similar archetype of team that we would use to deal with Legus, it just like would not perform as well. An E0 Jinglu Cypher combo is not doing 3 stars, I'll tell you that much. And probably not even 2 stars if they're all E0 S1. Maybe if you get your together. And don't even get me started on plight mode. The higher tier one, the level 120, yeah, good luck, buddy. But I guess all of that is to say that I used to have a pretty negative opinion of what anomaly arbitration was, because I really didn't like the idea of putting a Stygian onslaught in this game that's like, oh yes, a whale game mode, great. But to my understanding, you know, free-to-play players and low spenders are able to clear these 3 nights and at least get the regular rewards from clearing this guy. If you look at the rewards from this, you actually get the interference key, which is the reroll lock die, at 1 star. So you really only need to defeat him within 6 cycles, which I think for highly invested free-to-play players, it is doable. And overall, I think that the game mode itself has a net positive for the game, even if it is a bit of a bummer that I think a lot of people will just never be able to clear it, right? There are going to be certain players who are just never touching this game mode, never clearing it, and it's going to be a little sad, but I do think that overall, the game mode's existence is positive. I think I was hoping for something that was a little different feeling from MOC, because this does feel like MOC where you just take like an extra buff. But regardless of that, I still do think it was a lot of fun when I first played through it. This is also, I feel like I probably should have put this at the beginning of the video, but like HSR is not sponsoring me to say this. A lot of people just assume that everything I post is sponsored now, which is like kind of weird because like I have to disclose if it's sponsored, so like you would know if it's sponsored. But people just like to assume that if you say anything positive about any game, it's sponsored. This isn't like sponsored like arbitration shill. I'm just sharing my experience. I actually enjoyed it a lot. I had a good time playing through it. I think they do need to tone down the HP on the 3rd level just like a little bit. Like I feel like the fact that there's only one E0 S1 team that's consistently clearing this is kind of insane, right? Like that's indicative of some like massive shilling on the behalf of the company for one character. And I think like toning this last one down just a little bit would be fine. I'm not saying make it so everyone gets 3 stars, but I'm saying make it so like more than one E0 S1 team is viable, okay? Just more than one would be great. But yeah, you know, I had such a good time with this. I'll probably get back in this and be doing this later. When I come back from my camping trip here in a little bit, I'll probably do this on stream if you guys want to come hang out and see some teams being put through here. But I will say, this really made me realize, damn, my relics are hot dog ass, dude. They were bad before and they stayed bad. I've just never been able to roll well. I rolled like 15 relics today and I got 1 or 2 good stats on every single one of them, even though they were all 3 or 4 liners for good stats. It's crazy. Either way, guys, I kind of just wanted to share that experience with you guys because I thought it was pretty cool. I really like anomaly arbitration. I think this was a good decision by the devs to add it. I hope that we get some different feeling game modes at the end of the game, or maybe like some way to like rent out characters that could be useful if they're going to do that level of HP with anomaly arbitration, just because I do feel like, well, for casual players or players that have not really been consistently beating all the end game content, or even for people who have been beating it every time, who just feel like they've been doing the same thing over and over and who are bored, we could probably use something that feels a little bit different than just MOC but more HP. And I don't think I'm alone in thinking that there are a lot of people who are bored with the end game. So even though I enjoyed the new bit of challenge, it would be cool if we got something that felt a little different. But overall, positive review, man. I enjoyed that a lot. So let me know if you guys are clearing it and how you feel about it. I think that it overall was a net positive for the game, and I want to know what you guys think. And also let me know what you guys think about the state of HSR. If you guys are still having fun with it, if you guys are taking a break, what's kind of going on there? I'd love to hear it. So thanks, y'all. Talk to you next time.